I don't believe that balance exists. I believe it's wholeness.
I'm whole to begin with, but I have work to do.
Wholeness to me is being able to be your own bridge to your heart, through your heart.
In 2015, my oldest was 18. He was considered an adult and was leaving the nest. With all the preparation and paperwork involved in this change, I didn't notice my heart pounding until he was gone and I wasn't running around like crazy. I was a stay-at-home mom for 18 plus years, and it wasn't difficult for me. I know that it isn't always the case. Some women stay home miserable, and some moms have to work and wish they could be home. And I have complete empathy for whatever roads of motherhood you have traveled and found difficult. For me, this was my life, and I had thought my purpose, and I was happy about it. And now it was ending. Do people's purposes end? When it came time to confront the messages of my pounding heart, I had to dig deep. Many of you know that 2015 was the beginning of 13 months of painful events, one after another. This change in motherhood started off followed by my mom's death with lots of complicated emotions there. Then my marriage difficulties hit an all-time high. My dad remarried quickly to a woman with traits of narcissism. We discovered some sexual abuse by a family member, and my best friend, and the only person I felt I could truly confide in, was diagnosed with cancer. The suffering that year was tremendous. I hope to maybe do episodes on more of these situations because I'm hoping that things that I learned can help you if you have been through any of these, or at least help you feel that you are not alone. But today I want to focus on that change in motherhood because it was profound for me. It was surprising. I wasn't expecting it. Motherhood, or mothering humans, I'd love to hear about the journeys of men that are caretakers. I'm sure you have added perspectives and complications. So love to you kind gentlemen who mother. But mothering is a transformative journey that evolves alongside our children. As kids grow up and life unfolds, mothers often find themselves facing a shifting landscape of roles and responsibility, whether it's 24/7 with little sleep, the children leaving the nest, experiencing divorce and being home alone for days at a time, or encountering unexpected changes. Mothers must navigate a complex web of emotions and adapt to evolving circumstances. And we kind of don't know that in the beginning. So I want to explore the challenges faced by those in the mother role in these situations. I want to shed light on the range of emotions we may experience and offer strategies to cope and thrive during these transformative times. For me, it seemed that 18 years came at me all of the sudden. It was not easy being a stay-at-home mom, for sure. I complained a lot, and I kept in more than I let spill out, which is probably very surprising for those that lived in my home with me. Looking back, that was a mistake. It's not that I needed to complain more. I needed to believe my complaining. I needed to believe what I was holding back and trust that what I was feeling was valid and accurate, and have the courage to reach out and find things that would support me. Just me. I am a human being in need of support like every other human. I put too much on hold, and when it was over so quickly, I was left feeling like I didn't know who I was. And I also believe that if I had really understood that active mothering would end, I would not have complained as much as I had. Looking back, I can see that I felt like the difficulties would last forever. I felt kind of like I was drowning a little bit in it. If I could have grasped better the idea that it was temporary, I think I could have felt differently. I think if I could go back in time, I would make defining my own identity more of a priority. I was a young 22 when I had my first child, so a career had not even been entertained at that point. I was so all about being a mom. I don't know if I would have changed that, but taking classes and having a life outside the home, even if it were only for a few hours a week, would have made the transition out of active motherhood easier for me. Not only that, but I would have had other descriptive words other than wife and mother on my, quote, resume. I would also tell that younger me that this will end. I'm sure some moms are counting down the days to freedom while others are counting in dread. I was obliviously living day to day until it occurred to me that my son leaving meant he would not return the same, and things would never be the same. You can cue the sad music. I know it's so cliche, but all those sleepless nights, which are so hard, would come to an end and I would wish for them back again. Hindsight sees it all clearly, right? I still get a twinge of nostalgia for the days my kids were little, and also a bit of guilt that I ever complained. Such complexities. So here are some key factors that contribute to the challenges faced during challenges in the mothering role. The first factor is that we have emotional attachment. Motherhood is deeply rooted in emotional bonds between a mother and her child. As children grow up, move on, or encounter life changes, mothers may experience a range of emotions, including nostalgia, loss, and uncertainty. The strong connection formed over years of caretaking makes it challenging to adapt to new dynamics and relinquish previous roles. Emotional healthy adults need emotional attachment as children. And that involves a sacrifice on behalf of the mother because the attachment, or in other words, safety, connects the mother to the child as well as the child to the mother or parent. It can be really easy to over-attach or to not let go of attachment or create a more avoidant attachment style with your children. So you keep your own safety intact at the sacrifice of healthy attachment methods. I'm releasing a whole podcast on attachment theory in the next few episodes. This information is vital to healing our society, but it is kind of tricky in this situation because we need that attachment to happen, that safety to happen for the development of the child, and yet the mother is having that attachment too, and it's not necessarily as easy to detach, or it's not necessarily, their biology is going to want that attachment to exist longer, right? That's just a natural thing. They're not developing from it, let's say, the mothering part of that equation. So it's a sacrifice, but it's something to learn and to understand. Another challenge that mothers face is about a sense of identity. For many mothers, their identity becomes closely intertwined with their role as a caregiver or with their children and their children's achievements, right? When children grow up or circumstances change, maybe they can no longer be the star of the soccer team, and that was something that you held pride in. Mothers may feel a loss of purpose and struggle to redefine themselves beyond the context of motherhood. This process of rediscovering personal aspirations, interests, and goals can be both exciting and some unsettling to it. I can very much identify with this factor. Here I am with a podcast and owner of the Wholeness Network. I hold classes and see clients, and yet it can really be hard or difficult for me to take that in sometimes. I am so identified with being a mom, and I love my kids more and more as they grow and evolve. But my role in mothering them has had to change for their benefit as well as my own. But feelings are still complicated. I still miss those mothering days. Speaking of that, another challenge for those that mother is their loss of control. Changes in motherhood often involve relinquishing control over certain aspects of a child's life, whether it's letting go as children become independent or sharing parenting responsibilities after a divorce. The loss of control can trigger feelings of anxiety, fear, and vulnerability. Mothers may worry about their child's well-being and question their own effectiveness as a parent. Another challenge for mothers is adjusting to new routines. Transitions in motherhood often require adapting to new routines and schedules, whether it's adjusting to an empty nest, co-parenting arrangements, or blended families. These changes can disrupt familiar patterns and create a sense of disorientation. Mothers may need to establish new rhythms, find balance, and develop strategies to navigate these adjustments successfully. And lastly, a challenge is societal's expectations. Society often places immense pressure on mothers to fulfill traditional roles and expectations. When circumstances change, mothers may face judgment or scrutiny from others who hold rigid notions of what motherhood should look like. Overcoming these external pressures and forging their own path can be challenging and requires resilience and self-compassion. And I would suggest a coach. While changes in motherhood can be difficult, they can also provide opportunities for personal growth, discovery, and the development of new perspectives. By acknowledging and understanding the challenges that arise during these transitions, mothers can embark on a journey of adaptation, resilience, and empowerment. With support, self-care, and a willingness to embrace change, mothers can navigate these challenges and find fulfillment in their evolving roles. But I think we kind of need to, I wish for me at least, I had expected that. I had known that, whether it was from the beginning or at some point throughout the process. So it wasn't looking back that I was doing the work, but I was incorporating that work and that journey throughout the time period. And 18 years sounds like a long time. When you're year one, that just seems like it'll never come. It's just the way it is. But I want to dive deeper now into some of the changes and just give them a voice and give some ideas about how we can navigate the different changes. So, of course, the first, children growing up and moving on, which was my experience. Watching our children blossom into independent adults is both a moment of pride and a bittersweet experience. For me, it was for sure. According to a survey conducted by the Pew Research Center in 2016, around 64% of mothers reported feeling a mixture of happiness and sadness when their children left home. This emotional cocktail often includes pride in their accomplishments, happiness for their newfound freedom, but also a sense of loss and nostalgia. Which nostalgia is looking back with, kind of a skewed sense of everything was fine, everything went well, everything was perfect. And what that does is that kind of makes the current time, we kind of compare it to what's going on now, and it's never as good enough. So that's that nostalgia. Sometimes it can be great nostalgia. Sometimes you look back and it's great, but most often we rearrange the situations so that they're much better than our current situation, and that can be difficult. So a woman named Sarah shared her experience of mothering two teenagers, and she says, "When my daughter left for college, I felt a sense of pride and excitement for her future, but at the same time, I couldn't help but miss our daily interactions and the role I played in her life. It took time to adjust and to find new ways to connect with her as a young adult." I totally get this because, like I say, there's that attachment there, and all of a sudden, hey, that was something to look forward into my day. That was something that fed me, and now all of a sudden, it can't feed me in the same way anymore, or it would be inappropriate maybe. And so now what's happening, because that was food for my soul. So finding new ways to connect. So to navigate this transition, mothers can focus on maintaining open lines of communication with their children, regular check-ins, sharing experiences, and showing genuine interest in their lives can help nurture a strong bond. I think learn to ask your children questions and seek their advice. This signals that they are capable and gives them a sense of approval, and you will be amazed at their insight. And then this relationship can now become more of, they feed you as much as you are open and willing to feed them emotionally, right? Also, explore personal interests, pursue hobbies, and invest in self-care. These not only enrich the mother's life, but also serve as a positive example for your children. This is a new way to continue mothering. So mothering yourself becomes how you mother your children. I think that's a great insight. That was an aha moment. So one parenting dynamic that I wanted to make sure I touched on was divorce and changing co-parenting dynamics. Because divorce is a life-altering event that reshapes the family structure and can significantly impact a mother's role. Approximately 40 to 50% of marriages in the United States end in divorce, and navigating co-parenting dynamics becomes crucial for mothers in these situations. In divorces involving children, it's common for mothers to experience a mix of emotions, including anxiety, guilt, and uncertainty. Adjusting to shared custody arrangements and the knowledge that their children will spend time with their other parent can be challenging. That can bring up a lot of emotions. However, research shows that positive co-parenting relationships are associated with better outcomes for children. And I know this is not always possible, so have some grace and assertiveness about what is right for you. Studies have found that effective co-parenting after divorce enhances children's emotional well-being and reduces their likelihood of experiencing behavioral issues. It also provides a sense of stability and security for children as they adapt to their new circumstances. Open and respectful communication with ex-spouses, focusing on the children's best interest and creating consistent routines can contribute to a successful co-parenting dynamic. Lisa, a mother of 3, shared her experience. She says, "Divorce was a difficult time in our family, but I realized that maintaining a healthy relationship with my ex-spouse was essential for our children. We established clear communication channels, attended co-parenting classes, and made joint decisions regarding the children's well-being. It required effort and compromise, but it has made a significant difference in our children's lives. I would say a good coach can be a vital resource, and I can't stress that enough. Because those feelings do come up. There's a reason there's a lot of emotion in a divorce, and to have somebody support you and be able to take that with you and work you through those emotions so that when there is time to communicate with the spouse or be with the spouse, you have some tools and some empowerment to that experience. Motherhood is a dynamic journey, and there are various situations beyond children growing up in divorce that can redefine a mother's role. For example, a career change can impact the time and energy available for parenting. Remarriage and the blending of families introduces new dynamics and adjustments. Maybe illness changes things. During these transitions, it is crucial for mothers to acknowledge their emotions and seek support. Research has shown that social support plays a vital role in promoting well-being and resilience in mothers. Whether it's through friends, family, or support groups, connecting with others who have experienced similar changes can provide reassurance and guidance. Now, we hear that all the time. We've got to connect with other people. And where do you begin? And the beginning point is a vulnerability. That's the beginning point. Because when you reach out, it's going to feel, or it can feel, all sorts of wrong, right? It just feels so uncomfortable to reach out. It's like we're telling ourselves, we're kind of cementing in that there's something we're feeling or that we're dealing with something. And sometimes that could be hard. So again, a good coach is helpful. Even that is a connective relationship. So really reach out for support, because motherhood is ever evolving and it presents both challenges and opportunities for growth. As children grow up or circumstances change, mothers must adapt to shifting roles and emotions. By acknowledging and validating all of our feelings, maintaining open communication, nurturing personal growth, and seeking support, mothers, or those that mother, can better embrace transitions with grace and resilience. If I could tell my younger self one thing, it would be, each chapter in motherhood is an opportunity. Notice and be keenly aware of the chapter you are living in, knowing this chapter will end and another will begin. I'd encourage myself to seek for discovery within each chapter, and this will probably look very different in different chapters. I'd tell her to look for deeper connections within each chapter and continue personal growth and maternal growth, or how I mother. Change it up, learn new things about mothering. But mostly, if I could go back, I would mother her a bit. There are times when I have gone back in healing moments. And in those moments, I help her find her wholeness. Thank you for listening. Please rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast wherever you are listening. We invite you to thewholenessnetwork.com, where you'll find the Wholeness Library. Inside, you'll find tutorials, downloads, mini classes, and all sorts of streaming content for you on your wholeness journey.